Hello everybody, and welcome back again to Cloud 2020 Insights. And whatever time of the day or wherever you are in the world, welcome. It's great to have you here. Thanks for all the comments that we've been receiving. That's been really interesting, and I know, Ian, it's feeding into the kinds of things that we're going to talk about in the future. But today we're going to talk about the Return to Work app, which I know has been around a little while. I think there's a second iteration, isn't there? And it's kind of prescient at the moment because we are all thinking about, how's our world going to be post-vaccination, post maybe being able to get together a little bit more, and obviously going back into the office for some of us. So I think that this was built by Microsoft, by people around the Microsoft world anyway, specifically with this in mind, going back into the office. What can employers do to create a safe space? How can they enable their employees to feel safer about going back in? But you've had a closer look at it than I have, as usual. So can you kind of run us around the app? Tell us what's available?
Yeah, sure. As you say, Wendy, this was actually originally built and deployed some time ago now, kind of in our scheme of things, kind of post-lockdown one, really. And it was a response by Microsoft. As you know, Microsoft themselves are caught. The moment this happened, they just shut the whole thing down, the whole campus down. And when you think that the campus in Seattle has 42,000 employees on it, that's a major town, and they just shut it down overnight. So there were engineers there. They're going, well, hang on a minute, this isn't going to last forever. What do we do when we come out the other end? And obviously there's lots of different elements to that. So one is, if you're an FM manager, you're going to have to stage the status of a building. Is it closed? Fine, it's closed. But then, is it that you're now scaling it up and cleaning it and putting the right equipment in, and therefore it's in that phase? Have you enabled it for a phased occupancy, or is it fully open or whatever? And you may define those elements and processes yourself, and that will do that for you. So you can actually build your own status of buildings. You may have like closed or open. It might be that simple, or you could have the different stages, and that will be built on different criteria and what have you. So the app's really good for that, from a kind of an FM and a compliance and a management approach. But at the end of the day, if you go to the other end of the stream, it's really about, well, I'm an individual, and as you know, we've had so many debates. Are we all going back into the office? Are we not going back into the office? Are we going to sell the office? Goodness knows, right? But I think in most cases, there's going to be a mixed approach. So you and I might go into the office a couple of days a week because we like that interaction, and that's where good ideas come from. We have, particularly some of our younger team, want to go into the office because they want to get out of the house and they want to have that social element. We've got other members of the team who don't now live anywhere near us, so they're probably going to want to go into a shared workspace somewhere, but interact with us as a team remotely. But if we come back to, some people will be going into the office potentially. It's really how do you monitor that? So what the app allows you to do is to enable people to literally book a desk, or book a space, or book a conference. So it will do, for example, you can have four desks in a space, and it will allow up to 4 people to book that space and what have you. So on their phone, on their mobile, on their desktop, whatever, they can book that space for tomorrow or whatever date. They can see what's available, they can book it, and then when they come in, they can be booked into that space between certain dates and times. Now, why is that important? Well, because another element of the platform is about monitoring, and it's about that we've got, we've had somebody that's had a higher temperature on Tuesday, right? who was exposed on Tuesday in the same place as that person. Those 5 people, right? Okay, folks, we'd like you not to come into the office again now until we know that everything's fine. So it gives you that ability to monitor. It's a bit like the NHS app, really, but for companies in a way.
Yeah, and I can see that it also allows you to monitor, so as well as occupancy, you can monitor supplies, health supplies, safety procedures, even have checklists for people. Did they clean up after themselves? Have they got the right stuff to do that? You're running out of gloves, for example, in there. And I think all of that potentially offers more confidence for people to be able to go back that their employer is actually taken care of. Because I know there were some previous examples where perhaps employers were so keen to continue with what was normal that they maybe didn't necessarily let their staff know that they were actually taking care of them and thinking of them in that way. And I think that's come out as one of the kind of defining things that have changed, isn't it? That conversation needs to be had, and that it's actually really important when somebody's potentially putting their life on the line to go into work, which I don't think any of us really thought we were doing by going into office spaces or factories or working in coffee shops, for example. But with the pandemic, that's the nature of it, isn't it? So we as employers want to make sure that we're having our employees have confidence in us looking after them, and I really think that this helps. Plus multi-location for one organisation, you know, and you could have somebody who perhaps geographically is quite separate from the department that they work in, but they could go into somewhere nearer them and take advantage of a desk that's there. So there's a lot of kind of ways in which it will enable much more flexibility, I think, in the future.
I think it's some really strong points you're making there. I was talking yesterday to the CFO of a large, household supplies shop, right, whose name might begin with W, and they have a policy that their directors, the directors live all in different places in the country, and they have a patch, and it is their job to go and spend time working from different locations. Could be their warehouse or could be one of their shops. Well, exactly that. So therefore, they're moving around all over the place, you know, and so therefore it's about really in that environment tracking where they've been and when. So that's really valuable for that. The point you're making about the confidence, you know, one of the things the app does is before you can book a space, you can see what the status of the building is generally. You can see what's available to you to use in terms of facilities, and before you can book it, you have to read through the current requirements, so, you know, temperature, fever, contact with people, and obviously that's changing. But the platform's very flexible that you can change that very quickly as the status and the systems and the checks would change. But also it takes a pulse all the time, so it's always asking the people, the employees, how did you feel about this booking, you know, and it's the old smiley face thing, just checking the box. But that's really important, because it's back to what you're saying. If you get a lot of people that go, well, I was okay, or I was not very happy about that, well, why? So then you can ask those questions, can't you? What was it? Well, I didn't think there was enough cleaning, or people weren't taking the separation importantly enough, or whatever. So capturing that little snapshot of how people feel about this is really, really important as well, I think.
I agree. And I understand that, you know, the app is a standalone, you know, run on your phone, on your laptop, on your tablet, whatever it is that you've got. But there is the opportunity, because of course it's built on Power Apps, for connectivity to other parts of the Microsoft stack. So potentially we'll see connectivity maybe to Teams later on, Microsoft 365. The Internet of Things even, you know, and you can imagine many uses for that, which we don't have time to go into right now. But, you know, and I think we'll see developments, add-ons, additions to this come up around specific functionality, specific industries, for example, maybe levels of risk as well. So I
Yeah.
think it's a great base, isn't it? It really
Oh,
is a great
absolutely.
base for that.
The actual product itself works well. Obviously, we're already looking at things like scanning in, scanning out on QR codes and things like that, which are automatically updating the bookings and what have you. But going to another extreme, so because that still relies on somebody actually taking some action, and
Yes.
doing something about it. But of course, with phones these days, you can geolocate. So you can go, well, when this person goes into the building, we can pick up on that and use that to start the time ticking on the booking and the reverse when they leave and so on. So
Yeah.
there's loads of things that we can do around that. And obviously, some customers have already got clock in and clock out type approaches or security cards systems, what have you, and that can obviously be buttoned in and therefore managing that same process as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
lots of flexibility to meet different needs, definitely.
Yeah, definitely an app for the future as well as right now. So,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
it's going to be something we'll see more and more of. And
yeah,
obviously, one of the reasons we're talking about it is because we're looking at deploying this for people and we're offering it as part of what we do. But really, it's not about the product, it's about the challenge it solves as always. And I think
yeah,
essentially, for me, it's about giving confidence to employees and enabling employers to gain a little more control, perhaps, over their world than that it's been
yeah.
feeling that they've had, around buildings and offices and a return to work.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, as you know, the one we're looking at deploying into at the moment, they already had a problem because they got 32 people and only 22 desks,
Yes.
which was never a problem before, but now it's an issue because you can't have people bunching up on desks. You've got to have that separation and things like that. So it's really brought that whole thing into sharp focus for that organisation, which is
Yeah.
why we're going in there and deploying that for them now. But yeah, lots of. I think that the app as a foundation is brilliant, and then we can do so much for it for very specific cases, and it's of its time.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's a great place to stop, Ian. I think it's I think we've talked about the problems it solves, and obviously if there are people out there that have some of those issues or their customers
Mhm.
have some of those issues, get in touch with us. We'll be happy to help.
Absolutely,
All
absolutely.
right. Thanks. I'll speak to you again. Bye bye.